Wait a second. There's an anime movie getting a live action adaptation. Could it possibly be? Could it be? Wait, it's a Ghost in the Shell movie? Not Cowboy Bebop? Oh. Well, never mind. When Ghost in the Shell first got announced, I was really excited. We've had a lot of comic book properties and a lot of toy properties get adapted to live action movies, but there hasn't been a breakthrough for anime movies yet. This is super exciting to me because there's so many great anime properties that deserve the live action treatment. I'm looking at you, Cowboy Bebop. I'm looking at you, Cowboy Bebop. Now, I had not personally seen the animated Ghost in the Shell movie, but I'd heard a lot about it and the influence it had on many movies in the 90s, mainly The Matrix. So that made me really excited to watch it. I'd always heard it was this great action movie, and when I went and watched it, I was kind of like, what did I just watch? I had always heard... I had always heard it was this big action anime movie, so I was extremely let down. And I wondered, is there something that I'm missing? Because like so many people love this movie. What is it that I'm missing? And I went back and watched it. And it was almost like I watched a completely different movie the second time around. Ghost in the Shell is not an action movie. It's actually a thought-provoking look on what technology does to society and how it affects it. And it examines it through a character who is struggling to find her humanity and if it even exists. And I really enjoyed it the second time around. In many ways, it reminded me of another movie that took several views for me to enjoy. However, now that I had seen Ghost in the Shell, and I was way more excited to see the live-action adaptation of it, I couldn't help but be a little bit disappointed that it was Ghost in the Shell. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that I was upset that it was Ghost in the Shell getting adapted. I think it totally deserves it. But to be the first big anime adaptation that we get, I don't think it should be. The reason being is because I want a lot more anime series to get adapted into live action format. And in order for that to happen, there has to be a big box office draw. And Ghost in the Shell is not particularly for everyone. In fact, it can be very art housey and kind of, hard for a lot of people to get into. So there really needed to be a movie that could draw in a big crowd and be a big box office hit to prove the studios that they should make more anime movies. And yes, that does suck, but if we want more of these anime series to be adapted into live action, then there has to be proof to Hollywood that these can draw in big crowds. And Ghost in the Shell is not really for everyone. So I wasn't very surprised when I saw the Rotten Tomatoes scores and all the reviews, because it was advertised as an action movie, and it's definitely not that. And I think that's what a lot of reviewers and critics and people went in expecting. However, with that being said, I really enjoyed this adaptation of this movie. Every frame of this movie is a visual spectacle. I mean, I could go back and watch this movie so many times, and I can tell you I'll probably be able to pick out several different things that I never noticed in the background before. It looks straight ripped out of the anime, and the cities and the landscapes and everything look amazing. And there's so many details to like keep focus on in the background and the foreground, and every little scene there's these little visual cues that are hidden. The cast of this movie was also really good. I think Scarlett Johansson was actually a really good pick for Major. She plays the character of Major just like the anime. She has these very subtle, nuanced emotions that she portrays without using words, and it really shows that she's questioning not only her humanity but also her sexuality, which is a major plot of the original film. In fact, the entire cast did a really great job in this movie. The two that really stood out to me was the actor that played Bato and also the actor that played Aramaki, Aramaki was a total badass in this movie. Honestly, he may have been better in this movie than he was in the animated film. Now, while this movie does take a lot of shots from the original animated movie, it is definitely not a shot-for-shot remake. Some of the scenes are shot-for-shot, but the movie itself is not shot-for-shot, nor is the plot quite beat to beat as the original anime is. It definitely takes some of its own liberties, and it also borrows some from the other Ghost in the Shell iterations, like the series and the other movies and stuff. None of these plot points, I feel like, really diverge from the actual story of Ghost in the Shell, however. They do add a few new things, some things that purists may not like, including one thing that really goes into giving a little bit more backstory to Major. And you either really like that or you don't. And I actually really liked how they explained it, but some purists might not like it. However, the movie doesn't go so far out of its way to be completely different from the original anime. I think it's definitely close to it, but yes, the original anime is better, obviously. As far as this goes as a movie, though, it's not something I'm going to put on every day of the week and be able to watch over and over and over and over and over, but it's definitely something that if I'm in the mood for, it will scratch that itch for sure. I've got to be in the mood for it. Much like I've got to be in the mood when I want to watch Blade Runner. It's one of those movies. But when I am in the mood for it, this movie definitely will scratch that itch. And I really do look forward to watching this movie again. The story is, while not better than the anime, it's close enough to it that I can still enjoy it. Now, I know a lot of people said this movie was boring and that the characters were flat and everything. I mean, I think the characters did a good job. The characters acted like they were a little bit robotic, and that is because in the story they've had all these technological modifications, and that's who their characters have become. That's kind of the point of what the original anime was trying to explain. Now, as far as this movie goes, is it boring? No, it's not boring, but it's a very slow-paced movie. This is not an action movie like it was advertised. This is a movie that is a little bit more thought-provoking and a little bit more challenging than the normal comic book action movie. Now, is this something I'll throw on every day of the week? No, I definitely won't be watching this movie every day of the week. Will I watch it again? Yes. I'll definitely want to put this movie on when I'm in the mood for it, much like a Blade Runner or something to that, like a sci-fi movie that is more of a psychological movie than it is an action movie. And for that, I think the movie did a really good job, and I really enjoyed it, and I do look forward to watching it again. So I'll score this movie a 7.9 out of 10. As much as this movie is getting crap right now, I think another generation might find this movie and, overlook those things that people are talking about and actually find a good movie in there. And it might become a new cult classic like a Blade Runner did. Because, when that movie came out, it wasn't particularly well accepted either. But it's not the kind of movie it was advertised as, and someone going in blind in the future might find this movie and really, really enjoy it. So I think this movie could have a life well after it comes out on Blu-ray. Alright guys, so let me know down in the comments below, what anime do you think should be adapted next? And if it's not Cowboy Bebop, then just don't even comment. No, I'm just kidding as always, but Cowboy Bebop should get a live action movie. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more great reviews, and we'll see you next time.